What is it, the 20th of June, 20th of June, to call this planning meeting to consider. Minister planning, okay, okay. Apologies for absence.
Doors.
It's okay. It's okay. Apologies for absence. Do I hear any apologies? Sarah, this with you.
Correct.
Okay. Kelly's going to be there. Rob's going to be there.
No, Kelly was filling in last time. Kelly's not on.
He's ex officio now.
She is. Yeah, she's ex officio. So, okay. Declarations of interest. Yes. You know, which that's about minute. Approve the minutes of the meeting of the planning committee held 30th of May 2023. The proposer, Mr. Thomas, seconder, Mr. Plant. With participation, I should have reached out with the fire. We shouldn't. Yeah, I keep looking to you because you. We have people in the building, so I should read out the fire evacuation procedure. In the event that the fire alarm sounds during the course of this meeting, please leave the building immediately by the nearest available exit. So that escape routes are indicated by arrows and the green signs. For that, do not use the lifts. If anyone present has difficulty in negotiating stairs, please make yourself known, and we will discuss the most appropriate evacuation procedure with you. When clear of the building, proceed to the assembly point in the marketplace opposite Tracy. Do not re-enter the building until told to by a person in charge. That's it. You. Minutes of the meeting with, do I have a, yeah, so we've got a proposal, we've got a seconder. On favor, against. Public participation. Do we want to speak to any items? So, you basically have 3 minutes to across. What point of the agenda are you speaking to?
It's regarding the planning application or
Just the address. Is it?
no 21 Reading Road. Okay, so I'm the applicant. We submitted a plan, subdivide the 4-bedroom staff accommodation into 3 one-bed units. But there was objection in relation to parking and other development. Since then, I have amended the plan. So there will be 2 units of 1-bedroom each. So the parking issue shouldn't arise because it's still a 4-bedroom, there should be 2. And on the revised plan, you'll see there is not much of a change apart from 1 shower and toilet being put in. That's the only thing.
Okay. Thank you.
It should be.
Thank you. Anybody else? Sure.
Yeah, hi, Nick Carter, resident of Park Road. It's in relation to Jewson application. I think many of the residents were quite shocked when Jewson put this application in. I think these conifer trees, which might not be the most attractive trees, but they went in for a reason 20 odd years ago, whatever they were. And that was designed to screen, you know, they're very good at that because they're quite big, they're quite bushy trees. They're designed to give us that privacy and that separation. For me, you know, if we're looking at it on an environmental standpoint, it's a flood risk zone. And there's a, for those that don't know, there's a 24-hour pumping station on Park Road because I think there's a problem with the water table there. So any problems, you know, this could potentially impact that further. You know, there's a lot of elder people on Park Road as well that, you know, feeding the birds. Yeah, I think it would be very sad to take away that, you know, environmental side plus the privacy that we have currently. I personally think that it's a bit of a red herring, and you know, as the old saying is no smoke without fire. And I do think that that land value is excessive and is far greater than Jewson's and the cost of potentially moving them to a new location.
Yeah.
And so it could open us up to in 2 or 3 years worth of residential development, which I'm sure would actually get through because you know it's a prime site in Henley and it would get through. But that would be at our detriment and potentially then cutting down these trees for the sake of maybe trying to get an extra 3 or 4 houses at the top. I know that's sort of me sort of digressing a bit, but I think that potentially could be something. The noise units is obviously an issue for us on Park Road. We really want to make sure that we have that so that we don't see nuisance in their lorries. We have to remember that Park Road and that area is a conservation area. So despite those trees being on the other side of the fence, it is our outlook. I suppose, you know, we only got the letter pretty much 2 weeks ago. It all seems very rushed from our perspective. And, you know, we haven't even had a chance to even think about this. You know, we've just been talking about among ourselves. So, you know, the Park Road residents would be very keen, obviously, to have this, you know, put away, and really they should have preservation boards, but also to at least give some more time to do this.
What else?
Can I just ask a quick question? Have any of the residents actually gone to any of the tree officers at SODC?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Thank you.
I think it has, you know, we literally got the letter, you know, 10 days ago, being told to get it done within, you know, 14, 21 days. It's a lot. And to be honest, a lot of people on the road have absolutely, you know, don't know what to do in this situation. So it's a case of, you know, do we need to go and get our own representation? Do we need to get some money together to go and pay someone to help us do that? Because it's that important.
Thank you.
Well, I commend you, you've got one of the best street responses to a planning application I've seen on SODC for a while, which is fantastic. Valuable, you've done a great job on, and also on social media. So I commend you on
Yeah.
Please.
Hello, Fraser, point 14, pedestrian crossings in Henley. I'd just like to speak in support of these pedestrian crossings. It was raised at a planning meeting, I think, last year, or even longer ago, about the fact that there are some points where it is dangerous for pedestrians to cross. And I know that 3 out of 4 have been recommended to look into further. One handles enough pedestrian traffic, and the other one there wasn't 5 crossing in there. But I'd like to just speak in support of that in all 3 places: the Bell Street outside Rupert House and the 2 ends of Kings Road.
Thank you. Oh, sorry, yes.
I've got a statement to make on behalf of the head of Rupert House School, who's unable to be here due to a governance meeting this evening. My apologies for not being able to present in person this evening, but I have a Board of Governors meeting which prevents this. I am most grateful to the councillors for considering our request for some sort of pedestrian crossing on Bell Street. There is currently no safe place to cross Bell Street, particularly given that many cars, vans and lorries ignore the 20-mile-an-hour speed limit and drive considerably faster. At the moment, our children and parents have to cross using the reliefs, where they rely on drivers allowing people to cross as they do not have right of way. As a school, we educate the children on the importance of crossing roads safely and carefully, and we reiterate this to parents. I gather there have been accidents in the past, and just last Thursday, one of our younger children stepped out into the road in front of their parents. Fortunately, they were not hit by the driver, who had to perform an emergency stop. Whilst we've raised this issue from the school's perspective, it is clear that there is also no safe place for our neighbours and local residents to cross over Bell Street, which is a very busy street. Given the ageing population in Henley, it is currently very dangerous for some of our slower moving units to cross the road, given that they do not have any right of way. It is sadly only a matter of time before there is another accident on Bell Street, but we believe that by there being some sort of pedestrian crossing, that the chances of this happening will be greatly reduced. I have spoken with a number of local residents, all of whom are in support of this proposal. We would collectively be happy to do anything we can to support a pedestrian crossing in reality. Many thanks for your consideration of this. Nick Armitage, head of Rupert House School.
It's okay, the next week, if I can deal with item 6 and item 7 together before we light the flag. We have proposal for Tony Hoffman to be appointed chair of the Climate Emergency 2030 Working Group. Seconded by Councillor Williams. All in favour? And likewise for vice chair of Climate Emergency Working Group. I believe Rebecca Chandler White is to be nominated as vice chair. Followed by Councillor Thomas. All in favour?
Can we just consider the terms of
I
that?
was about to do on that actually. That's why we're trying to do those two first.
Okay.
And then in reference to Article 1.5, on page 11 of the agenda. There is a proposal that we don't discuss the terms of reference with the group, but actually with the group themselves. When I have a vice chair and a chair, I think they can lead the group and they can discuss the terms of reference. And goes up.
Yeah, we'll come back to planning.
It'll come back, yeah, that's good.
Sorry for lateness, Chair.
Okay. Number 8, plans amended on the 13.
Thanks, Charles. Is it relevant to be very long?
You can do.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
So, first one, 21 Reading Road, to take it first together, there is 21 Reading Road. Full and 21 Reading Road listed building, and that's what the gentleman was speaking about before. Anyone wants to motion?
Conditional approval.
Well, second.
Second that.
Well, which I haven't heard the condition now. That's some different conservation.
Well, conservation will be on it anyway, but I think there's an incompatibility with the residential use of the aircon and air handling equipment at the back of the building. So I think it would be either conditional on an approved acoustic background noise on the survey or the removal of the plants.
Yeah, okay. Probably the second one.
Second that. Anybody else want to speak on this? All in favour? Approved on the basis of the acoustics. Acoustic.
Background noise approved.
Conditional approval on the background noise. Okay, next one, Denmark House. Passport application for Denmark House. It is, the original one was to recommend refusal.
So I think it's a listed building, there's no listed building application on it. So
Is it amended? Because that's amended.
I don't think there was one in the beginning either.
It's just not.
Conservation officer has actually put in a remark, so I'm just happy to go ahead on the message that they put in a remark on it, and I don't agree with that remark. So I'm going to propose refusal because it is still incongruous with that row of houses and with the street scene, and some residents have actually demonstrated that there is a safety concern as well for access to their own properties.
Okay. Second,
Yeah.
Councillor Lawrence. On with a motion to refuse, on favour. Refusal.
Well, raise another point.
Yeah.
This is the new game. Are we expected to accept the standard of presentation of that application moving forward?
The pictures.
The crayon drawing. Is that what we are
We can only,
expected to
my
make?
understanding is we can only work on the basis of what is put in front of us. If that doesn't give us enough information to work on, we can refuse it on the basis of that. If there's not enough information, we can say no.
We have done before quite a few times.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
No, we need to step outside. So the next one is Marjorie Close, an amendment to plans already approved conditional.
I'd like to propose that we reiterate refusal until there is matching hanging tiles.
It's the same as we have for recommend approval subject.
Yeah,
Do they not match?
no, they haven't changed it,
They have changed it.
have they?
Yeah. They've gone from. Oh, 1 million.
What do the other committee members think, did you see that they'd,
Yeah, because in the amended plans, they've gone from superseded, which were a funny blue metallic to a matching.
because the
grey.
native comments say that it hasn't changed?
I think only society comment had this factually incorrect, from my understanding, but unfortunately the chap that knows most has actually just said that. Let me pull up the plan again, but I'm fairly sure that we looked in superseded.
Amended plans.
Did you look at it, Kat?
If you go for the front proposed and then the amended. And the initial ones like this, which is those funny metallic factual tires. And now,
Fish.
and now they are.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Is that the same as the others? Do we
I-
definitely know that for sure?
What?
Should we just phrase it so something that's subject to it being matching?
Yeah, fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, but otherwise they have gone to some ways and then if people haven't seen them, they're definitely getting.
We should have the extension.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Then we've got a proposer, have we got a motion?
yeah, so approval subject to.
Approval subject.
Right, that's a good one. A new
Well,
motion.
it's the same as we did last time, but we are 100% certain, fine. As certain as I can be.
We believe that the plans reflect tiles that are identical on either side.
Yeah, it's basically subject to the tiles being matching with the other houses.
Because they look to be so on a computer schematic, but short of having both tiles in my house. I've got-
And the likelihood of getting them exactly the same. Yeah. This is the other side of it. We've got like tiles that have not got for quite a number of years.
Before they were multiple different colours, whereas now they're a hanging grey tile, which I assume to be.
So with a motion, proposal, seconder.
Yeah.
On favor. Should we get them?
Yeah, can ask him now.
We can't ask them.
Can ask him now.
Yeah, Karen, can we just check, do the tiles now match? Because they look like they do on the computer, but short of having a tile in each hand.
They match the colour.
Yeah. So, yeah.
They don't like to share.
They don't match the shape. Is that, do I need to leave again?
Luckily, we've already passed judgment.
The final one on plans amended 66 Landers Road. Previously, we recommended approval. And you what wants to do, Councillor Plant,
Insignificant changes, recommend approval again.
any seconder, Councillor Lawrence. On favor. Voting. Okay. Item number 9, plans renewed. First one, 20 Marketplace, Samuel Thames. Any proposers, Councillor Thomas?
Approval.
Seconder.
Subject to consideration.
All in favor, consultation. 22 Valley Road. Anybody? Comments? Marcus, Councillor Thomas?
Oh.
There you go.
I am going with this one, because they have actually, reduced the bulk and massing of the proposed extension. And they have submitted some other examples of what has been actually done along the road.
Yeah.
So we can't really say that precedent hasn't been set. So although I still think it is rather bulky, I think it's marginally, so approval.
We've got a proposal, a second, vote, all in favor of acceptance. 22 Cromwell Road, Hamilton Thames. And Councillor Owens,
Can you mark me down as an abstention on this one because it's a neighbour, so I don't really feel comfortable commenting on it, if that could be noted as well, please, in the minutes.
yeah. Councillor Thomas or Councillor Thomas?
So I'm going to propose refusal on this one. Reason being, well, there are two reasons. The first is that there is a huge height difference between the properties on this road. And also, the applicant had actually sought pre-application advice, and they haven't subsequently followed it.
Yeah.
So it's likely to get refused by SCDC anyway. So on those two grounds, I'm going to say no. Refusal.
Second. That's one. I'm going to say the speaker in this.
When it will come back, I think, and when it does come back, I think we need more clarification because there's no context to it. You can't see the neighbouring buildings, so it would show the heights. There's also a window which is now just 1 metre from the boundary. You can't tell what that's created possibly means. Things back. As well.
The pre-app advice was pretty conclusive, wasn't this one? He was really good, and they didn't follow any of them.
Okay, we proposal on the second there, vote for refusal. Next one. 233 Grave Road, removal of the existing rear extension. As a plan,
Approval.
second. Second, councillor Ross. Anybody want to speak? Basic. And we vote for approval. And the next one, 99 Reading Road, removal of conifer trees. Who wants to go first?
Refuse.
Yeah.
On the grounds of it's adjacent to the conservation area, they contribute that. There is a national planning policy guideline now that development should aim to enhance the ecology of the site. This is exactly the opposite. There's no indication as to whether they're in poor condition. Want to see an agricultural report on them.
It was actually something to through agriculture, or agriculture.
They said conifers are of low value, but that doesn't mean they're of low ecological or biodiversity
Yeah.
importance. They just don't rank as high as an oak.
Yeah.
It's just as simple.
Yeah.
They're fast growing,
Yeah.
but it doesn't mean they should be removed because they serve a valuable purpose.
Was that the comment that was made from the 3 lines from the architectural technician?
Yeah, that was it. And he did say that they should go on to get biodiversity and ecology statement as well, which they haven't obviously done.
It did say that the forestry officer from Southern Hill has replied. And they have no objections, low agricultural quality. It is recommended the countryside officer to consult on the application, and there's nothing from the countryside officer. The remaining trees adjacent to the fence are to be retained, and tree protection conditions should be attached to secure details and measures during the installation of the fence. Consideration should also be given to secure some replacement planting, such as a hedge that people are printing. So. The points that were raised by yourself, I think, earlier on, about noise, dust, ecology, screening.
Some drainage.
Anybody else?
But I think if they want to get rid of the conifers, they need to come back with a fairly extensive replanting strategy to both demonstrate that they don't have alternative plans with it and to demonstrate that they're actually going to do something better or improving of the biodiversity, just as Councillor Jackson said.
It's quite clear that they just need to have an annual tree surgeon tidy them up, and that's all that's needed.
Can we call it a committee at this stage?
So we're going to vote in favor of the refusal. Second. All in favor of the refusal?
You notice it was unanimous.
Do you want to back out yourself if you want to, discuss that?
Thank you very much for the work.
Next one is a household application, 2 Gilwood Road. The proposal, Mr. Pons,
So approval.
seconder, Councillor Thomas, and there's a speaker in it, Councillor Jackson. Vote for approval. On favor. Anybody against?
I just didn't, I had a chance to look through everything in detail.
Slightly last minute later, and stepping in.
Next one, S 73, is that just an amendment? Yeah, and so additional.
It's a variation of the condition.
For 19A Bell Street, which I think is up behind the pitches, is that what the issue was?
Those pages, yeah.
Pitches. Do we have a proposal? Councillor Blunt?
I like the plans. I think they're actually an enhancement on the plans before they give the actual flats or the proposed accommodation, better lights and a few bits like that. I don't think they cause any detriment to the, you know, to what neighbours they don't have around, but obviously no reason to not approve it.
Seconder. Jackson, anyone else like to speak? Will we vote for approval? We'll take the next two together, that's Kensington Station Road and Town, full on this building. Conversion of existing dwelling and the 3 bedroom class. We have a proposal, Councillor Blunt.
Subject to conservation, I think, you know, Henley needs more smaller accommodation. You know, I understand that we've got parking pressures and bits like that in the town. They've covered off the bins in the planning application. They've got that. They've got plenty of others covered. I don't think there's a parking issue on this one. I mean, we approved more flats in more condensed areas of the town with some of the parking problems far worse. So I personally don't see any problem with this application.
Second that. Second this.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Second that.
Yeah.
Then
Agree with
there's-
everything you said, Councillor.
Yes, I'd like to speak. I would suggest refusal, listed building. You find that a lot of things that have been approved, and we talked about 21 Reading Road, they maintain the plan form that was established over time. And to achieve this application, you've got to dismantle the plan form, which means loss of historic material. I'm not suggesting it's high value, but it is loss of historical material, which is
It'd be subject to conservation approving it, and so if they don't approve, and it's listed in there, if they don't approve the material plans inside, then obviously it won't go through. So it's one of those, I don't disagree with the application so long as conservation are in agreement with it. If it hits a point of construction, obviously conservation aren't acted with the material changes. So that's that, what I understand.
Yeah, it does fit with all the other problems of sort of higher density traffic issues come up all the time. So it's just the historic aspect.
So. Vote for approval subject to conservation. Moser and seconder. Seconder. All in favor? All against? And the final one, housing location, Novel Cottage. Election of ground floor side extension. Condition.
It's described as incidental accommodation, and to all intents and purposes, it looks like a house,
Yeah,
so there could be creep.
yeah.
And then it would be ancillary, and then it would be residential. So I think the condition should be that it remains incidental.
Ancillary use, yeah, we've got them.
Ancillary use or incidental use.
They're different, so ancillary, you can sleep in. But incidental, it's sort of games room, gym.
Okay. Can we specify, will ancillary be, I know the apologies, we realize it's. Preference, if somebody's staying over, for instance.
That's how we feel. I just think it's a classic way of getting a design creep over time. So if you mark it in time, it doesn't stop them coming back and saying, can we have that as ancillary? But it has to go through due diligence.
So it's,
Does it make a difference if we just approve ancillary to start with and then just rest on the fact that we hope that subsequent planning of councillors will be as informed as we are.
Possibly, but they haven't asked for us, so
Yeah, it's not.
not incidentally.
So, a proposal for acceptance, conditional to remain incidental accommodation. Second. Funds. Anyone vote in favour? Anybody against? And objections, calling applications. Do we have any? Which one's calling?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, give me the reasons, we couldn't hear the reasons.
They'll be in the minutes after.
Yeah, I need to get this.
That was the antagonist.
The reasons were.
I can email councillor.
There were quite a lot.
Oh, yeah, there were a lot. I'll email you after full council.
Has your pen run out of ink?
Who's full council, 4 weeks time?
No.
Tonight.
About half an hour now.
Yes.
Okay, so we're calling in,
I think it's part of it.
okay, and I'm assuming I'll. Yeah, it's not, it's not all it.
Yes.
That's what he did. That's all it.
I thought you wanted to get the reasons, yeah.
Item number 11, decision notices on page 17 of the agenda. Plans is granted for Mile Henley. It's the house and listed building. S73 for new Pepper Living. And then 14 Ray Road. House of application for 10 miles close and the Donald window for 167. Item 12, withdrawn planning applications, 167 Ray Road has been withdrawn, the part demolition of the ground floor single kitchen.
That was on neighbourly one on this, neighbourly one.
But they have certificate, so they're there too, they have a certificate of local development for just the extension, but they've withdrawn the 1.2 story. We've been through this as well as 7 years, not once the last couple of weeks. Number 13, certificate of lawful development application. We've got an installation of solar panels for Hop Gardens, Badmore School, Hop Gardens, and a single-story extension to 32 Mandy Road. You know those? Yeah. What do they do? Check the paint color. And
Yes. No, I think I have.
so the next one, number 14, pedestrian crossings in. So I believe. Councillor Gavishaw, want to speak to this? With your permission? Yeah, on this. Yeah, please do. Thank you.
And Kath also wants to know. This has started a long time ago, actually. It's John Beale, who's the OCC officer, actually called the town with Kath Anthony.
Just now.
Yeah, right. To look at various sites for state crossings. Lawrence, I will try and avoid my comment where I said I always put people in front of the car. With great hilarity at the last meeting, last council, with the late great Councillor Hamilton as well, in the frivolity. Subsequent to that, I've been on the sites with John as well, and also last week, or a week and a half ago, we revisited the sites as well. The recommendation on your proposal is for setting aside money for the design work for the Pelican Crossing, the zebra crossing, and the raised table. I think all of them are worthy. The process that will happen is there's already been pedestrian counts. But when it goes to consultation, there will be pedestrian counts and also traffic counts. And absolutely the one on Bell Street near Rupert House is desperately needed. It's on a line where the existing refuge is, so it's a very convenient place. And it's for the design work, and of course, any recommendations will come back to this committee. The other thing that I will do is I will endeavour to get funding from OCC, from their still money, to actually fund part of this. We will not get all of it, but certainly because we're talking about 3 huge lumps of money, then I think OCC should definitely chip into the pot, and I will try and endeavour to do that. I will, don't know whether Kathy wants to add any more or take questions.
I think one of the first questions I've got is, we talked about in the report, possible works, there's 5 locations, but one of them is, isn't in that crossing side anymore. So there's actually 4 locations. Well, you're talking about 3, so there's now 3 or 4.
The Rupert House one, yes. Eastern end of Kings Road in Northfield Lane, pedestrian crossing, yes.
Other end of Kings Road. It's the recommendation. The recommendation is for the Pelican Crossing on Bell Street, Zebra Crossing on Raised Table and Kings Road.
Yeah.
So
I think it's a zebra crossing down the bottom of Kings Road
yeah,
that is referred to. The page 21, 3.5 location 3 approaching the northern end of Kings Road. That will not happen because it's too dangerous. The raised table at the end of Kings Road, I think is a great idea. And the location 5 at Fairmark, I think we've just got to look into that again. There was so little footfall, but the pedestrians are important people because they come out of Bowling Hall, across the road to catch the bus.
yeah.
So even though there might only be 3 or 4 of them, but I think we've got to come up with a more cost-effective solution for that particular area. Probably like that.
So the recommendations for location 1, location 2, and location 4.
Yes.
Thank you. Councillor.
Thank you, Councillor Garishak. I'm concerned on two of the potential crossings. Firstly, the Pelican Crossing proposed for Bell Street near Rupert House School. I'm very supportive of having the crossing there. I'm slightly concerned about one with traffic lights, as I'm sure we've all seen by the bridge, it's other places where there are traffic lights, where there are plenty of pedestrians. Cars frequently speed up.
Traffic lights, it says it's a light controlled Pelican Crossing.
So they're just the crossings that are
Just the basic police obedience.
Is that the same as a zebra crossing, or is that?
No, zebra crossing's got no.
Do they have traffic lights?
they just have a flashing on.
Yeah. So yes, it is traffic light. This was recommended by OCC because it's better for the residents around there rather than having a police beacon.
Which
flashing all the
I
time.
completely understand, I agree with you. I'm wondering if we could have red light cameras as part of it to prevent people from speeding through, which could potentially create further danger.
I think that might be a good idea, but I think I would separate it because that would involve, speed counts, etc., which will be part of the pedestrian crossing. Let's get the design work done for the crossing, and then if there are other mitigating measures that we need to do then we will. We have got evidence with the gravel hill that in fact installing the pedestrian crossing does have a calming effect on the speed of cars going through.
With most cars, I could see that would be the case, but it's the 1% who would decide to chance it, potentially around children, that I'm concerned about.
I agree.
The second point I'd like to make is with the Bowling Green residents.
Yep.
And while you're right on both councillors, while there aren't many, there are still residents.
Agreed.
I have seen several times a day, cars will go past the speed camera and then go full throttle once they're past it, right at the point where these residents are trying to cross. So some form of measure there is necessary.
So that's why we've got the temporary, you're going fast, you're going slow, that's what that is, isn't it? With
No,
this-
it's,
the speed camera-
this is,
No,
that's the town side of the speed
Okay,
camera.
so it's the other side.
It's the other side, yes.
Yeah, councillor, you make absolutely valid points, and that's why I made the point that even if there are 5 people crossing, it's a dangerous point to cross. So we've got to have another look.
And it's just around the corner, so it's not always easy to see the cars, or the cars got to see the pedestrians before they decide to put the clock on. So,
Yes, good question.
Councillor Pond?
Yeah, it's with full favour, I'd recommend 5.1 and 5.1. Commend Councillor Gavin on all the hard work he's done on it over the previous years, and welcome OCC putting their hand. Yeah, you've done a fantastic job at getting match funding on many bits, but just chatting to councillors on either side of it, I really still struggle with the fact that we as a council put our hand in our pocket for highways matters to the extent that we have done in the past. We're pretty strapped for money, full stop. We can give it to better and local initiatives, things highways and events to make our highways safe. And yet Councillor Gelshak has done a fantastic job with previous crossings, but I'm sad, it's through no lack of work on his part, please don't take it that way, but the OCC aren't putting their hand in their pocket for their highways issues that fall firmly under their remit.
Councillor Gavin, it's the Oxford Council.
Yes. But I was fully listening.
on the point, I support both 5.1 and 5.11. But the fair mile crossing is not included in 5.1. Will that, just that discussion, ladies and gents, or just I wanted to check that didn't mean it was dropped.
No.
I've got a proposal to accept the seconder.
Yep.
Yeah. We recommend to bring this to full council. Or is it full council?
It'll go.
Okay, and a final point then. Item 14, 15, progress report for applications called in vote, sorry. Thank you very much. So we propose on the seconder and the vote. I thought we did. Oh, it's just unanimous. Yes, unanimous. And the progress report for applications called in. We don't seem to have anything as moved in.
One update for you. 35 Dane Gardens. The officer is moving to approve. It's going to, because we called it in, it's going to SODC planning on the 28th.
Do we need to attend? We need to do it 2 months.
We need some research.
Okay.
I can't, unfortunately, I'm working.
20th is one involved.
Could I please just make one request?
Yes.
Do we know what's happening with the hub? Because they were trying to get an LDP on that one. And we pushed it back to the officers. We haven't heard anything back, have we? So it's not, no, it wasn't. We'd asked if it could, they could come back with a full application, but we haven't heard, have we? Oh, they can inquire. Yeah, thank you.
Fine, I think that's pretty much finished.